Whew. Gotta take a deep breath before you get going sometimes. You know, gotta just make sure you're composed. What's up, everybody out there? Um, craziness, craziness right now at this point in time. Let me show you something good crazy though, real quick. All right, let me pull up something good crazy because this is good crazy. I'm gonna show you this. I just saw this before the show. Let me make sure I got the right window. Yep, right here. So this game, Friday night on my birthday, August 30th, 1.6 million viewers on Ion. I didn't know what Ion was till I started following the WNBA closely. I don't think most people knew what Ion was. That's a Friday night on Ion. 1.6 million people watch The Fever in the Sky. Not a Sunday afternoon on ABC, not a Thursday evening on ESPN, a Friday night on Ion, which is another reminder of the separation between reality and whatever is happening online, right? Because, like, reality tells you that this is a moment in time. We are living through history. This is something that should be celebrated. Like Nancy Lieberman said the other day, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. This is something that should be celebrated and appreciated. I mean, not even just like Caitlin Clark per se, but the entire thing. Everything that's happening right now. Because I promise you, a whole bunch of people talking WNBA now who never were talking WNBA before. You know? More people are interested. More people care. It is a moment. It is a movement. I don't know what the hell's going on with some of this other stuff. I mean, my best guess is they're crashing out because the party got crashed. They had their own little club, whoever these people were. And when I say they, I'm talking about specific people, not any group of people. The people that I see on the internet machines. You know, I went back and forth with one of them. I don't even want to call her out by name. I went back and forth with one of them on Friday. I think it was Friday after that game or Sunday, one of the games. And she tried to get the last word in and then blocked me. Like, that's a mature thing to do. You look at here. I'm clowning you and now I'm blocking you. Okay. And then I went in the space. I went in the space today to see this. You know, Sheryl Swoopes is up in this space. She's in a Twitter space. And I'm like, all right, let me see what's going on with her. Because like I'm legitimately like saddened by the Sheryl Swoopes thing. Like, I'm no joke. That's sad. She is ruining her career and ruining her legacy and going to get herself fired from her current jobs because she can't be professional and objective. And people are propping her up like she's on some righteous mission. You know, that woman does not need affirmation. She needs help. And I'm in there and people are like legitimately, like, the things that are being said in there are insane. I'm not cutting, you know, and mincing words no more and tiptoeing. Insanity. People are spouting pure insanity. I can't even believe what I'm hearing. I don't even know what they were talking about. Damn sure it wasn't basketball. Damn sure it wasn't facts. You know, and when I say Swoopes' legacy, I don't mean the fact that anything she did will be undone. Nothing will be undone. Her career speaks for itself. But new fans, and there are a boatload of new fans coming in, and this is what they're going to think of when they think of Sheryl Swoopes. It's the truth. And I see people like in there spouting off about race, about everything. Dog. I don't even know what they're talking about. Like, yes, Caitlin Clark is a white girl. Does her being white add to her popularity? Sure. You know, like I said, in the same way that it did with Eminem. But Eminem wouldn't be where he is if he wasn't nice on the mic. And the basis of Caitlin Clark's popularity is basketball. She's the most exciting player to watch play basketball. And then, like, even with like the Angel Reese thing, it becomes about something other than basketball. Like, I'm sorry, Caitlin Clark is way better than Angel Reese. It's not close. It's not a competition. It's not the same thing. And it's okay. Like, I mean, I can't, again, I mean, obviously I'm a white guy opining on this. It is what it is. Transparency, right? But I would never pretend I'm speaking on behalf of all white people or speaking on behalf of black people, because it would be unfair to label people, in there. Like, we got tons of black people in this chat. You know how many times I've been the only white guy in a room in my life? I used to be the designated cab hailer. I played in a celebrity basketball game. I say designated cab hailer because of terrible stereotypes. I was the one who could get the cab. I played in a celebrity basketball game in the Bronx. They played the Friends music every time I caught the ball. It was funny. The white dude. Go look at my high school yearbook. Look at the basketball team. You'll be able to identify me. Look at the track team. You'll be able to identify me. Look at where I lived for 8 years of my life. You'll be able to identify me. Like, I've been talking ball, covering ball, playing ball my whole life. When you play ball, that's where things are game recognized game, real recognized real. And people are just talking crazy. They got nothing to do with none of this. Because Caitlin Clark busting people's ass. And with the Angel Reese thing, Lisa Leslie seems like a lovely lady. She said something, whatever. She tweeted something, people reacted. That's the way it is. But, like, the idea that Reese needs to be a charity case is insulting. It does her a disservice. And you won't hear pushback. Like, when Clark gets into the MVP conversation, some of these people are like, how dare you mention? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Look what she's doing. She's producing points and assists at a higher rate than anyone ever has in the history of the league. She's going to break the all-time assist record. Her team is winning games after being the number one pick in the draft. She leads all guards in rebounds and blocks. She's top 10 in scoring, number one in assists, number one in threes. Like, what do you mean? That you won't get pushback like you do with Angel Reese when it's Asia Wilson, which is going to be something over the next few years. And I'm not saying Clark deserves the MVP over Asia Wilson. I would vote for Asia Wilson. But, what I mean by that is that's like Asia Wilson is a bona fide baller and hooper. And that's going to be a real conversation. With the Angel Reese thing is manufactured. I don't even know. But again, like, that's not reality either. Because reality shows you all those people who were, in the on the game, watching the game. Like, I don't even know what I went into there. I don't even know what people were talking about, where that mindset now is. Because I feel bad. Like, I honestly feel bad for anybody's brain. I said this about COVID, and I really meant this. Like, when COVID happened is when I realized everybody was out their minds. Like, because you had, a whole bunch of, like, backlash against obvious hate and terrible things before COVID. And I was in protests. I was speaking out when I was told by employers not to speak out, right? Like, I was doing all that. And then you get into COVID and you see everybody online arguing about all these minutia things every day and turning them into these huge controversies. And even like COVID itself, people like were either like, I'm vaccine or I'm anti-vaccine and I'm this or that, like, without looking at the evidence, without looking at what was actually happening, without looking at the fact that, I don't care what nobody says. I'm not an idiot. That thing spread everywhere. And it's a big reason we were able to then move on, because it did spread everywhere. And unfortunately, people died. I don't even know why I'm on this tangent here. Like I said, it drove me crazy. But that's when I knew everybody was crazy. And now I see the after effects. Because people are yelling about masks and vaccines and blah, blah, every day was something from every direction. And then I go in here and I hear, and I'm sure, look, I'm sure the comment sections are filled with terrible things. Again, I've had people hit me in my comment section with terrible things, say terrible things, especially Instagram. It's the meanest platform. But I hope everybody's good. And I just don't, there's a college dissertation or a book to be written on this, the socio aspects of it, but I'm just trying to talk some basketball sometimes. All right, I got to pick my kids up from soccer practice, so I don't have too much time. Might as well get into the comment section and say what's what. Oh, my man, we've been Twitter buds for the longest time. Not PJ. It was a much better argument at the start of the season. Now you just look crazy if you argue anyone other than CC deserves rookie of the year. That's the thing. You can't. There's no basis for it for anybody who likes and knows basketball. You're arguing some other sort of thing, and I don't dislike Angel Reese. All of my favorite athletes my entire life have been black. I don't know where this came from. Fast count, Swoopes versus CC is getting spicy. I don't even think it's spicy. I think it's sad. I legit think it's sad. I don't know. It's not funny. I don't want to see somebody crash out like this in front of the whole world. And it's not going to end well. I'm telling you. You think if they did replace Nancy Lieberman, if they did swap her in for Sheryl Swoopes, which seems to be the case, if that was indeed the case, you think that's a good freaking sign for her broadcast career? That she can't call a game of the most popular player who's ever played the sport? That is not good. That means she ain't going to be calling those games, period, for very long. And that's not something I wish for. And then again, she's hopping in these spaces with some sort of echo chamber. And I'm not saying it's black or a white thing, because it's not. This is an individual people thing, this group of people. And they're gassing her when she needs somebody to be real with her. I don't want to see that for anybody, man. No joke. This woman, Sheryl Swoopes, is one of the first names I would have ever heard of watching women's basketball when I grew up. Following women's basketball, one of the first names that come off your tongue. I don't want her to be whatever this is. I mean, it's her own doing, but still, as a person and a fan of the game, DS says, can Angel be the best player on a winning team? Absolutely not. Not right now. No. Eventually, maybe. I mean, Angel, I said this is another thing that people were all over me about the other day. I basically made a benign comment about Angel had a play in that last game where she stole the ball. She took it the length of the floor on her own and got to the cup. And I was I was impressed that not only with the steal, but the fact that she could push it in transition like that and get to the bucket. And then she blew the bunny. And I basically said she can go from role player to star if she finishes. And people are like, you're calling her a role player, you're this and that. I'm like, relax. And they're like, can you name a role player that got 20 rebounds? Yes, Andre Drummond, Clint Capella. And Andre Drummond made a couple all-star teams, but people don't think of him like some superstar. I mean, Dennis Rodman, who she wore the jersey of, I don't think could be the best player on a winning team. And he's in the Hall of freaking Fame. And was unbelievable. But no, right now, absolutely not. Angel Reese cannot be the best player on a winning team. She can't score. Like the Sky are not 10 games under 500 by coincidence. And they miss Kennedy Carter because Kennedy Carter is the only player on the team who can score since they traded Marina Mabrey. But Reese has a positive impact on the floor because of the defense she plays, because her rebounding ability is truly special, and because, she's got that motor, she goes after it, and all good things. Eventually, she's got to you can't be the worst shooter in the league within 5 feet by a mile and take more shots from that area by a mile and be, a superstar on the court. She's already a superstar off the court. All the brand deals, good for her. But to be a superstar on the court, she got to finish layups. She got to make layups. And she's got to get a face-up game where she can make the jump shot and make you pay. And maybe she's a rookie. That's why I say it's unfair to her, because all of her flaws are getting magnified because she's being put in a conversation she don't belong in. AJ, Rob, I don't know if this was a pun on purpose. AJ likes car races, but I missed your Robin's race recap yesterday for F1. I bet you were going crazy when your guy Charles Leclerc was triumphant at Monza. Viva Ferrari. Good for you, bro. Got to watch your recap. Okay, you can catch up with it later, AJ. Let me get back to the beginning. Michael S. says, I've been following the Fever all season, but now I have a second team, the Dallas Wings. I am rooting for them to make the playoffs. Could you imagine a Fever Wings final? Look, I think the Wings are dangerous if they can get there. Sabali has added another dimension to that team, and Arike Agumbawale is a hell of a player, like a hell of a scorer. Her and Kelsey Mitchell, that's a battle. Kelsey's just a little smaller, but Kelsey gets buckets. And by the way, have you noticed that Kelsey Mitchell is better than Caitlin Clark as the new turnovers? Because they keep running out of things they can throw against her because she's been so good. Now the new one is Kelsey Mitchell has been better all along, when none of these people have ever mentioned Kelsey Mitchell one time before until the past week. Not none of them, you know what I mean. But yeah, I mean, I think that's part of the benefit of what's happening is you're seeing more and more people watch more and more. Like, I bet you the Sky in the Aces game tonight does pretty well, just like the Sky in the Aces game before. And more people, and I've seen it from doing this show and everything I've done, that I've seen more and more of the, Caitlin Clark fans, if you will, become fans of other teams and comment on other games. I mean, again, Twitter is not real life. Caitlin Clark did win the Player of the Week 2 weeks in a row. AJ says Ion. SVU, I didn't know. I really didn't know. Chris Ristall, attention is a hell of a drug. It sure is. Daniel with a let's go. What's up? Let's go. Martel says, bro, the NBA is so damn toxic, man. I'm so sick and tired of this black. Yeah, I mean, me too. I never heard none of it. And I am perfectly, I will have a race conversation. I don't mind having a race conversation. I will, especially when it's applicable, about something. And when it applies to the conversation we're having. But whatever I was listening to earlier didn't have nothing to do with basketball. Nothing. Not a damn thing. Had nothing to do with basketball. I'm getting scared for Swoopes. You can see her fall. Yeah, I mean, she's all combative online too. It is not good. I'm telling y'all, as a person who cares, I get no satisfaction from dunking on Swoopes or making fun of Swoopes or bashing Sheryl Swoopes. Zero. I would prefer not to cover it at all, to be honest with you, other than the fact that it's clearly newsworthy. And what I'm seeing is someone crashing out in front of the public, and I don't like it. And people need to stop acting like she's on some righteous mission. The lady is hating on Caitlin Clark, clear as day, has been. It is what she was, unprofessional and not objective. I'm sorry, that's the truth. I mean, yeah. But I don't even like that. Like, it shouldn't even come up on the other side of it either, to be honest with you. Like, when I first watched Caitlin Clark play, I did not even think to myself it was a white girl, really. I mean, yes, I see her. She's a white girl. I saw it. She's in Iowa. Again, I don't even know where Iowa is. It's somewhere in the middle. But I never thought it would become this thing. I mean, I think the good thing about it is I don't think Caitlin, I think she knows how to handle it. She's just been hooping and only says, like Caitlin only says complimentary. She went on SNL. People forget she went on SNL and thanked all the pioneers of the game. She went out of that press conference and said, don't use my name for racism, hate, all that stuff. She looked in the camera and said it. She looked in the camera and saluted all the pioneers of the game on SNL. Hell, in whatever the text messages Sheryl Swoopes apparently released, she said, thank you for what you did for the game in women's basketball there. She couldn't be more gracious or more focused on what she's doing. And people and then I get it, like Caitlin Clark fans. And I said this at the beginning. There was this thing of only everybody else around Caitlin was wrong. The coach has to be fired. The players were against her. And I called that out on this channel. Said it's garbage and nonsense. And I also called out the garbage and nonsense of crapping on players of the past to prop up Caitlin, because you can prop up Caitlin without crapping on the players of the past. I did that. But I got to be honest with you, I've seen a complete shift. You're still going to have a few here and there, of course. But you just got more. All this is more fans. I don't think so, DS. It's not Luka and Trey either. It's not. I don't think as of right now, Angel is Trey yet. But yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I get the parallel you're making, thinking about it, like where they were. But it's like this. People made it a Magic and Bird thing, and it's become a force-fed narrative because of that. When it's not, I mean, what did Jay say? A Michael, Magic, and Bird all rolled in one. That's Caitlin Clark, and Reese is a nice player who's been a foil for her and has been a winner. Angel's won where she's been. I'm not taking nothing away from her. I didn't even look. Thanks for pointing that out, AJ. Oh, yeah. We do. We got people in here. We got people in here. All right, let me see if I can. I mean, Swoopes is not irrelevant because we're discussing her. I wish for her relevancy didn't resurface in this fashion. Look at her teammate, Cynthia Cooper. Cynthia Cooper was there with Kelsey, there with Caitlin, taking photos, smiling. That helped Cynthia Cooper. I'm telling you. It helped Tisha Panachero for Caitlin Clark to pass her. More people know who she is. I think it helped Diana Taurasi's legacy. And that doesn't mean Diana Taurasi wasn't great the whole time. She's been great for 20 years. But there are more people aware of her greatness and impact on the sport now. Same goes for Candace Parker even, and Maya Moore when she was honored. It doesn't mean what they did before didn't count or nobody cared. It means there are more people that care now and more people learning about it. I promise you, Maya Moore got more love for that ceremony than she would have if it had happened last season. Never ever occurred to me to watch any basketball, never mind WNBA. Yeah, look, this is going to be nuts if this is any indication. I mean, I hope the best. I wish the best for Sheryl Swoopes. It does not give me any satisfaction to see what's happening for her right now. See, this is another thing I'll take umbrage with when you say black people can be racist too, and that's true, right? Like, I've always, people call me a cracker or whatever. It's like, whatever, who cares? I have not faced racial discrimination. I also think, I think of cracker as a term for a specific subset of white, whatever. I have not faced racial discrimination. I have not, the history is not what it is. And that doesn't mean anybody can't be racist or hateful, of course. But I get really, I don't like using, like, even, and I know I don't think you're doing this here. Don't get me wrong. I'm just using this as an example, like the terminology black people, as if the people in those spaces represent black people, because they do not. They do not represent black people. Some of them may be black, but they do not represent black people. Just like a crappy fan doesn't represent the entirety of Clark's fan base or a Twitter troll. I see some of the things in here, but I'm not putting up any, I'm not going to put up stuff bashing people. What up, Ernesto? How are you? Certainly not helping it. I mean, this is not good for Caitlin Clark. I'm telling you that sentiment. It is better for Caitlin Clark. The more the entire game is elevated, the better for Caitlin Clark's legacy. I mean, Serena, Tiger, Michael Jordan, I mean, and that's okay. This is also like people act like it's not okay that you're a new fan of something. Why is that not okay? Like, why? Why is that not okay? Yeah, I saw this too. I didn't know, to be honest. I guess there was nobody to push back. But I saw that, and I talked to people in the know, like people who would know that Sabrina and some of the, it's an interesting thing. Like, real quick sidebar, it's an interesting thing because in the NBA there are very, very few good white American born players. Like, and even the ones who are good aren't stars. Maybe like Cooper Flagg can be that, but regardless, like in general, the best players with fairer skin come from overseas. In the WNBA, in what is a predominantly black league, there is a higher percentage of really excellent, high quality players who happen to be white Americans. I don't know why that is. It just is. And it's been brought to my attention that this sort of thing was happening in the past with some of those players. And I've seen some of the receipts. But there was just nobody to push back on it. And because Clark's fan base is so large, and some of them, aren't afraid to mix it up, you're seeing the pushback, and that's led to, sunlight's the best disinfectant, right? I've seen Swoopes' MVP year compared to Caitlin's rookie year, but does that matter? either. Like, it's not relevant to this conversation. I'm not here to tear Sheryl Swoopes down. I that just gives me no satisfaction. No sat exactly. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Yeah, I mean, look, I think any basketball player, go look at the quote tweets on LeBron James's supportive tweet the other day. I mean, or you'd see Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. and anybody who watches and comments and analyzes basketball. People in here, like, you can't be a basketball fan and watch Caitlin Clark play basketball and not be impressed with Caitlin Clark as a basketball player. Otherwise, you are lying or you don't know anything. One of the two. You either are completely full of shit or you don't know anything. That's the truth too. No, I don't think Tiger Woods got any of this that I remember. And he went into the whitest. You know what? This is funny because, like, no place has ever made me more uncomfortable in life than a country club. Like, these places with, like, um pictures of famous white dudes on the wall and stuff. And you have to dress a certain way and act like a certain, you're a proper man in this country club here. Nothing has ever made me feel more uncomfortable than that. And I don't remember Tiger getting anything close to this. I mean, it is amazing that Caitlin, I don't know, has she messed up? I'm not even trying to, prop her up. Has she said anything wrong ever? Yeah, I mean, it's sad. That's somebody who's got something going on and does not need to be boosted for it. Oh, I think it's soon. Again, I'm not advocating for that, but I think it's soon. You cannot, if you're in their position, forget the WNBA, but whatever network it is, like, if you cannot have her on the call for a game involving Caitlin Clark, then you just can't have her on the call. It's as simple as that. I'm not advocating. I would love for this. I would love for her to come out with a mea culpa, everybody to say we're Gucci and move on, and her get back and be in everybody's good graces and realize, like, but maybe the toothpaste may not be able to get put back in the tube, and that's what makes me sad about it. I don't like to see anybody crash out publicly like this because it has to be deeper. Yeah, Daniel. I mean, yeah, it is. That's the thing about it, and people are just having a hard time coming to grips with it. Just having a hard time coming to grips with it. Like, I think Kelsey Mitchell could be the player. Kelsey's been terrific. I think, if we're being real, if I'm putting my analysis hat on, Caitlin's unlocking a lot for Kelsey. It does remind me of LeBron and Kyrie or even Luka and Kyrie, right? Where when you have that engine type player who can play make for everybody and draw the attention of the defense, it allows the scorer, the creator off the bounce, to attack the defense in a way they wouldn't otherwise be able to do because they're not overloaded against. And we see so often Kelsey's wide open out there, catch and shoot or catch and attack with the defense on their heels. And that's because you got to guard Caitlin 30 feet away. You got to guard her 30 feet away or she's going to pull it and dot your eyes. And then if you let her get into the lane, she's going to spray it around or take it all the way to the cup. Like, you have to guard Caitlin, 360. And that helps everybody. Yeah, I mean, I've talked to Nancy Lieberman in the past. She's a bit of a spark plug. I hope all that is the truth, but if it was, that certainly seems, that would be my interpretation of the situation. Well, yeah, and Swoopes, I looked at the old video. If you see it, there's an old video of when Caitlin broke her tournament record, and she looked visibly upset about it. And again, that made me feel sad. It made me feel sad because it made me think this is a woman whose identity in life has been based around this, and it's going away. And she felt it was unfair because Caitlin had played another game, which is a good point. At that point, it was actually a good. I don't know if it was necessary to make, but it's if we were arguing and said what was more impressive, I think she would win that argument, right? Like, she played one fewer game and did it. But then she took that and applied it to things it did not apply to, like Caitlin breaking Kelsey Plum's record and saying she did an extra year, or that she was older than she was, or that she was shooting 40 shots a game. None of it was true. Like, she said factually incorrect statements loudly. Yes. I mean, you don't have to convince me on Caitlin, yo. I would take Caitlin first out of everybody in the league. Yes. You don't have to cover the two positions to know. It doesn't have to compare. Caitlin Clark is much better at basketball than Angel Reese. Simple. Period. Exactly. If Angel could finish on Mike and drill, baby. All summer. Hell, when I go out on my driveway, I have a little personal rule. I have to make 20 consecutive layups, right, left layups in a Mike and drill before I can go to my around the world shots. Then when I go to my around the world shots, I have to make it in succession from each area of the court. So I have to make 20 straight layups before I can get to the around the world. Then I got to shoot from the corner, the wing, top of the key, wing, corner, make all 5 in a row before I can work on anything else. Like, that's my ritual now as a 43-year-old man. Exactly. Dennis Rodman took 15 shots a game. I mean, this is true too, but she doubled and tripled down. Thanks for watching, namesake. What up, Robin? Are those your favorite teams? I could see that. I am ready for the fantasy draft tonight. Thank you to everybody who joined and participate and is going to participate. I will see you guys in the lobby later. The full-time fantasy guys sent me something before the show. Let me see if I can find it real quick so I can plug it right. But they've got some other contests going on. I'll add it. I can add it to the description, but you can go to fulltimefantasy.com. You should be able to find it there. Thank you for the super chat. Sheryl Swoopes and many of the women, in parentheses, puts black, who built the foundation of women's b-ball dating to the 60s, went through was awful. Media never shined a light or cared about them. It's frustration with the media. Like, look, I do understand that. I do. And I empathize with it. And that's why anybody who's been through this with me from the beginning knows that I called people out who were being disrespectful to those who came before. Because that was not cool. And I understood where some of the resentment could come from, because you don't want to work your entire life for something and get to the level that some of these women have gotten to, and then have somebody say nobody cared about you, or you're trash, or anything that was disrespectful. And I never liked that. I always thought we were going to see a rising tide lift all boats situation, and we have. But with that said, and there's a number of reasons for it, right? I had somebody yell at me the other day saying, like, you've been in the media a long time. You should have been like, I was not a decision maker, right? Like, here I am. I can cover to whatever I want. But there, I was not. And it was true. Women's basketball was not covered the way it is now. That is true. But that ignores the good aspect of it, that we are in a historic moment. Again, 1.6 million people watch a game on Ion on a Friday night. And the women who came before, they'll never be able to make up for it the same, but they will become more famous for it. They will become more appreciated for it. The current players will become more appreciated for it. The future players will certainly become more appreciated for it. And it's not going to keep a black superstar from rising. That's going to happen. We already see it. And look, somebody said the white thing. Like, I think Nike needs to get on that, market that, put Asia Wilson's logo on them white tees. I think that's the best marketing she's done since I've been watching her. And, people are going to be following Paige. Obviously, she's white, but they're going to be following Juju. And, this is the kind of thing that changes a sport forever, for the good. And so I understand, and I hope that was a respectful answer. But at the same time, you can't be gatekeeping, and you can't behave like the people who get mad when the band blows up. And I'm only putting this up because I saw it right after that last comment. This is the garbage I'm talking about. Don't say shit like that. There's nothing cool. You don't make Caitlin Clark look better. You make her look worse. You make her fans look worse. Don't say shit like that. Menace to your mama says, yes, I'm a Clarkie. I would say they should be better than that, AJ. 6 best odds. The Fever are dangerous. I'm not talking about the college. I've never heard college championships brought up until Caitlin Clark. Satu Sabali is definitely impressive. Again, it doesn't matter if Caitlin has better stats than Sheryl Swoopes' MVP season. That's got nothing to do with nothing. Who cares? Reese is easily Rookie of the Year. I can see a troll when I know a troll when I see one. Man, there are so many comments, Joe. I'm doing the best I can. I got like 10 minutes left. I gotta pick up my kids from soccer practice. Gotta pick up my kids from soccer practice. It's back in the fall, like I'm busy. I'll be watching the Sky and the Aces, yes. Darnell, the playmaker. I was Team Angel Reese at the beginning, but you can't deny Caitlin Clark. To me, Clark is the most impactful player this season. See, that's what a person with a brain does. Appreciate you. Hey, I got more information. I saw more things. I changed my mind. That's what a person with a brain does. I said Caitlyn was underpaid at the beginning. I said that Nike deal was she should have got $100 million from them. I have I don't say this to boost her gas or whatever. Obviously, she's benefited my this phase of my career. Like I've been open and transparent about that from the beginning. How this came about, I started talking about it more and more. People started watching. They kept watching. I realized we're in a historic moment. I decided I'm going to cover this the way I know how to do it. With that said, I've never seen a bigger needle mover in my entire career than Caitlin Clark. No joke. Like an individual needle mover, never seen it. And that's just true. Andrea Carter was right as long as the team said they don't have a similar record though. The Fever and Sky's record is not similar. Yeah, I knew this guy was trolling. I think CC's defense is above average. I think she has moment. I think her lateral quickness is not quite there defensively, and she suffers the same problem a lot of people who have the kind of roles she does offensively do, where you can't just expect the same level of offense or defense an entire game when you're handling the ball and you're setting everything up. 64% of her shots are unassisted. Not to mention she's assisting everybody else, bringing the ball up every time. But when it comes down to it, I think she focuses in and locks down. It's the reason she's the number one guard in the league in blocks. She's up there in steals. She understands the game, obviously. So I would say she's above average defensively. Who down? Who downplayed whose greatness? Oh, I guess we're back on Swoops there. Sorry, I missed the bailout queen. Is that's the Kelsey Mitchell nickname? I like that. I think she does ignore the whole thing. This person says hi to you. This is true. I've never seen nothing like this before. I think Clark is an unbelievable all-around player. Yeah, look, I'm sure Tiger got some of it. I'm not saying he got nothing. I just don't recall it ever being um, like this. And Tiger Woods changed golf forever. Like Michael Jordan changed basketball on the men's side forever. Like Serena, women's tennis is actually on the low, always been pretty popular, relatively speaking. But Serena obviously had a huge impact and was different. Um, but I do remember that for the most part, all being celebrated. You're always going to have outliers. I mean, this is the thing. People are acting like the Fever were good last year now all of a sudden to try and tear down her, Clark. When did I advocate extreme? Oh, you're not. You're joking. I got you. Thank you, Daniel. You send a couple of them, and they do matter. Thank you. I now I'm seeing the play on words you were trying to make, but regardless, um, I mean, I want Kelsey to get her recognition. I do, but I think Clark is the most important and best player on the Fever. So at the same, I just think together they're going to be tough to stop. But I'm a big fan of Kelsey Mitchell. Mitchell's the truth. Kelsey's a bucket. There's no question. And you're seeing this come from a lot of Clark fans now, right? Like Kelsey Mitchell is being propped up. I mean, the WNBA is definitely stronger today than it's ever been. Well, I don't even think it was the ring as much as this. But when I was in that spaces, people were acting like Clark did that in that game. Like they didn't even have the context right. JC Sheldon played good defense the other night. I think it's more than that. Like, I don't think Will Smith slapped Chris Rock because of what Chris Rock said about Jada Pinkett Smith, if that makes sense. Thank you, Night Owl. Thank you again, Robin. DS. If somebody told you this time last year, I would have told them they were crazy. Honest to goodness, I would have told them they were crazy. Well, a little less crazy like last year. Maybe if we'd gone back 3 years, I would have told you we're out of your mind. Last year, at least, I mean, I remember the national championship game was the same day as WrestleMania. I was going into WrestleMania with my son, and I could see the attendance. That had 18 million viewers, the national championship game. And I remember doing a piece on Clark for Sports Illustrated 2 years prior to that blew up. That was before the Reese thing. And then I remember seeing the Reese thing happen, and I saw how big a deal that was. Like, so I guess I should have seen the clues and the seeds. But if you had told a previous version of me that I would be doing this, I would have told you were nuts. And instead, it's thrilling in a sense to cover. I'm not sure what that comment is referencing, but all right, I'm going to be late to pick up my kids from practice. Thank you. I didn't say his opinion was no good. I just had gone out of my way to say, let's not tear other people down to prop Clark up, and then did that right there. He's in here. I put his damn thing up on the screen. I just don't see what that accomplishes, how that helps anything. You're entitled to have your opinion. I don't think that's an opinion as much as it is a roundabout way to try and prop Clark up at the expense of others. And she don't need it. She does not need it. The Fever are a very likable team. That's for sure. I'll see you in the draft, Ernesto. I did see Temmie's hurt. She's got to catch the ball. Got my Asia on, for sure. Shouts to Asia Wilson. But usually sports are the thing that separates all that. Like it is, between the lines. That's true too. Definitely likable team, the Wings. I do appreciate the likes. I think the argument's going to morph into Clark and Asia. That's happening. All right, I do have to pick up my kids from school. I appreciate all the interaction on the show, all the views. Please like, subscribe to the channel. You comment later. I'll be back with another live, of course, sometime this week. Check out Women's Fastbreak on SI. We're covering all of the women's basketball action there as well. So I hope people enjoy this forum, these conversations, all that. I promise you to always keep it real in here, and keep it respectful in here. And I appreciate that we've been able to harbor that and foster that. And thank you to all of you who have come in here and support me. It does mean a whole lot. Till next time, yeet.